What's up, San Antonio? I'm Jen, and you are watching another episode of The Scene. Tonight we are here at Sanctuary at the San Antonio Food Bank benefit, and I'm here with one of San Antonio's own best postmodern punk bands called Hearts Fell. And I'm here with Eddie and Mike of Hearts Fell. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Excellent.
Welcome, Eddie.
Here. Hello,
Okay.
hello.
All right, guys, why don't we just start by giving a little history of the band, how you guys got started, who started the band, and let's go from there.
I'd say it was probably a bit of a 50-50 mix between Eddie and myself. He used to be in a band called the Dead Cadets. Full name was MT Helmet and the Dead Cadets. And they kind of had a bit of a placebo-ish sound. Things went awry with the band. Some band members didn't work out quite like he hoped. So he started to look for replacements. And, I wouldn't play his music. So we collaborated and formed Hearts Fell.
So it was both you and Eddie that started Hearts Fell, or?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was also in a band called Scarlet Moon Empire, and after both our bands broke up, that's when we started getting together. And yeah, I used to be kind of a Nazi as far as writing all the music goes, but he broke me from that habit, and we started putting stuff together, and then from there we're like, oh wow, we were putting really good stuff together, so we found other people to play with us. Roberto, our lead guitarist, who I'm sure y'all saw was amazing. He was the first guy we added in, and he was the one that's not related to any of us. He was just a fan of my old band. And then so after our last show, he was there at our last show. I was like, hey, I'm going to be starting something else. Do you want to join it? And he did. And then from there, Mike can tell you about the other guys, how they came in.
Okay.
Ruben the drummer, and Clint Kingsbury, a keyboardist, we used to play in the Scarlet Moon Empire with me. And things kind of cratered with that band after I left, so they were looking for another project, and I was looking for some members, and we needed a keyboardist and a drummer, so they came along, and everything worked out great.
Talk about the sound of Hearts Fell.
The sound of Hearts Fell. Well, we consider ourselves a post-punk alternative band. We use a lot of the old, elements of bands like you said, like The Cure and Joy Division, The Chameleons, but then we take it and we add a lot of modern elements. Our lead guitarist is really into sound textures similar to A Perfect Circle, yeah. Tool a little bit. He likes Hours a lot. And we try to work that in. And then our keyboardist, he just fills in wherever he can. He's sort of a savant, in my opinion. Try to get him to play something simple and he can't do it, but let him go wild and he just comes up with the perfect part. So we took it and we mashed it all together to kind of, get an updated 80s sound is, what we were going for. And we liked it because the darker side of the 80s definitely allowed more emotion to be present in the music. It's not just about a metal grind. Most of it's about the melody, and it really allows us to create music that kind of evokes the senses and gets our point across a little bit better.
You want to add to that, Eddie?
Yeah, I guess we're in the United States, we're trying to go against being called a goth band because it kind of pigeonholes us. We like being considered alternative, just so we can start being seen in the same vein as bands like Interpol and The Fate and stuff, even though we know we're pretty dark also. So it's been kind of a balancing act for us to do that. But in Europe right now, we're actually kind of blowing up. We're getting a lot of recognition from goth magazines, goth DJs and stuff like that. Our song Wishing You Well is on Strobe Light Records' New Dark Age 3 CD, which has gotten us a lot of recognition as far as people ordering CDs from Belgium and the Netherlands and Sweden and Germany and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird because we're trying to fight against this image that we have, but we're having it, we can't really have it both ways. So we're trying to figure out which way we're going to take with that. Unless we can be a goth band in Europe and then an alternative band in the US, but that's kind of my take on the whole goth thing.
So do you guys have a CD out?
Yes, our CD is called The Empty Promise. We actually recorded it about a year ago. It came out. We released it over at Sin 13. It was, recorded by Ruben at Edit Point, Ruben Rodriguez. And Rick Joyce from The Last Dance was the one who mastered it for us, and it sounded really good. It's 8 songs long. It's 46 minutes or so.
Tribute albums.
Yeah.
Did you?
Okay, my old band, the Dead Cadets, right when we were breaking up, we got approached by this label, FTC Records out of Chicago, to do a Cure tribute album. So what I did is I basically did it by myself, just using like a drum machine and stuff, and I recorded A Night Like This by The Cure. And then around the time they were releasing that, I was like, well, don't release that as a Dead Cadet song because that's a band that's already dead. So, and we're putting Hearts Fail together, so we did it with the Hearts Fail name, and it's pretty rough compared to like what the actual band is capable of. The next one that came out was a tribute to Joy Division, and I collaborated with Robert, and we did the song Decades for that, and I just kind of made it like a dancey kind of goth beat, and we put that together. The final one that we did for them is David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World, and that one's coming out I think next year, probably December or early 2006. That was the whole band. We finally got everyone together to do that one, and that's probably...
You do a great version of that. We heard that the last time you guys played, and unfortunately you didn't do it tonight, but
Yeah, that's probably our strongest cover that we've done as far as recording goes and stuff, so that'll be really good. That CD is going to have a lot of really good bands, including one of my favorite up-and-coming bands, the DRESDEN DOLLS. If y'all heard of them? Yeah.
Of course, Will. He loves DRESDEN DOLLS.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of pretty good bands on there, including, like pretty big goth bands and stuff like that. So that'll be good press for us when it comes out, but that's not till 2006 or so. But
do you guys want to add any more comments to the audience out there watching the show?
We'll kind of be out of the spotlight for a little while. We'll be recording for about a month or so, but then make sure to be checking like heartsfail.com. We have a mailing list if you go to MySpace and stuff like that. So that's the best way to keep in touch with us.
Well, thanks guys for being on the show and taking time with us. Remember, Hearts Fail. They are
I'm Mike,
And I'm Eddie,
and we are in the band Hartsvale.
and you're watching The Scene.
What up, San Antonio? Welcome back to another episode of The Scene. I'm Will, and tonight I'm here with the Dresden Dolls, and we're up here in Austin at Stubbs Barbecue. And how you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic.
Doing fantastic.
Wonderfully well.
Getting ready to have a big fat pulled pork sandwich
For real?
to complement this heat.
Compliment the heat.
It's gonna feel
hot
so
up here,
good.
guys. I'm sweating.
It's really hot. We're really excited to be back in Austin.
Yeah.
Both other shows that we've had here were great. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about seeing all the people coming out to see us again. We're playing with 9 Inch Nails tonight, so that's going to be...
How's the tour going so far? You like it?
It's 3 weeks in now, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe even almost
slightly
4
more.
weeks.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable.
It's been really good. The crew's been really helpful, and the band's been totally chill and very down to earth. All really good guys. And like the keyboard techs are helping Amanda fix her keyboards and taking the thing all apart. And it's been a nice sort of camaraderie. Definitely.
How did this all come about? Did Trent Reznor approach you guys, or how did you get on the Nine Inch Nails tour?
Trent Reznor sort of heard about us from different people and also simultaneously saw our video
Oh, really?
on it was either on the net or on TiVo or something like that. He found it and he looked, and it was the video for Girl Anachronism, and he was taken aback by it enough to go seek out the band. He had someone send him a disc.
Wow. And that
then
video is available on y'all's latest album.
Yes, if you go now, I think to most stores the CD that's available has the Girl Anachronism video along with it. It's also downloadable from our website, and it's on a bunch of other places on demand and Yahoo Launch. And
The Scene's gonna be bringing that video to you guys in a little bit. Are we all excited to be with Trent Reznor on this Nine Inch Nails tour?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely. I mean, that kind of exposure for us at this point was sort of scary, but also really exciting too, because it was sort of like the next step up, being introduced to crowds of that size, of the sort of 2,500 to 3,500.
Is this the largest tour y'all been on then?
definitely.
Yeah,
By a long
definitely.
shot.
And now it's funny because playing a show to like 2,200 people now feels small and intimate.
Yeah.
So it's funny to see that perspective kind of change. We were definitely nervous about the reception we were going to get from the Nine Inch Nails fans.
Yeah.
We heard a lot of horror stories about plywood and things being flung at the bands if they sucked and people didn't like them. But at the same time, it gives us a nice chance to go out there and sort of, feel challenged and really
when the
give our
audience
best
has
to it.
outdone themselves, they've been really, in some cities, beyond friendly. They've been in Atlanta. We got a standing ovation.
Really?
Yeah, so we've been, I mean, there's definitely, you know, in some cities on some nights there's a bunch of assholes here and a couple of meatheads over there yelling stuff at the stage, but they're mostly overpowered by people who either knew about the band and are already into us, or are interested enough and excited enough by what they're seeing that that those folks are definitely like in a very, very small minority and get shut up pretty
Cool.
quickly.
So the response has been good.
Oh, it's been awesome.
Plus, I gotta say too, like even the people that do scream like "fuck you, get off the stage," like that is so completely easy to understand.
Yeah.
Because of the anticipation. Like I know for myself, I don't want to sit through a band when I'm dying to see, you know, so and so after so many years. Like, so we're just psyched that no one has, you know, injured us.
Yeah, no
You
one's
scream all you want, because believe me, we understand how bad people want to see Nine Inch Nails too. So we're just psyched to get out there, play our set, get the reception we've been getting, you know, and then just move on too. This is a short tour; it's only a month. So now we're going off to do all these festivals in Europe, and that's going to be a whole nother trip. So.
You want to tell us about your little setup? Because it's not like most bands.
No, it's definitely not like most bands. There's no guitar, there's no bass. It's just drums and piano, and I sing. And Brian does occasional backup vocals, and we do a couple songs on just guitar.
Right.
With Brian up front playing acoustic and me singing from out behind the piano. But the 99% of the stuff is just drums and piano. But everyone's always commenting on how it's, if you hear it from outside the room, you would never know that it was just drums and piano. We make a really full sound and a lot of noise with just the drums and piano. And Brian's much, you know, he's beyond a drummer. He does a lot of percussive, really musical things on the drums.
Drumming and beyond.
Exactly. And the piano is, you know, it's a great solo instrument. You can hold down a bass with one hand. You can play guitar parts with this hand. We can cover almost any song we want because the piano is so flexible that way. So it's, you know, it really works. A lot of people are skeptical, but when you see it and you hear it, it makes a lot of sense. And it's actually made sense over the years for us not to add any more instruments, because we also do a lot of improvising and connecting on stage. And a big thing, you know, one of the primary things that makes the Dresden Dolls is watching me and Brian have this connection on stage that we don't really want to muddy up by adding other instruments and other stuff or samples or anything. We just, you know, it almost seems that the simpler we keep it, the better it is, kind of in its pure form.
You can see that in your music videos, because you're the one that's kind of going wild, and he's kind of like a quiet, strong type, silent type, you know. So, and I know y'all wear a lot of makeup too. Is that something that y'all incorporate on the live show, or?
Yeah, that's something that we just sort of stumbled upon by impulse and by just the spirit of having fun. We played with a burlesque troupe one night, and you know, Amanda was like, "I'll drag out some lingerie and stuff, and we'll kind of get dressed in that kind of burlesque style." And it wound up being like the perfect context visually for what we wanted to do. It was just enough of an accent to kind of keep things interesting looking for the audience, and for us too to kind of use that makeup to kind of use as a channel, kind of an outlet for a lot of the imagery and stuff that we were feeling from the music already. So it was just that other added element. We initially went into playing shows just saying, let's just go totally in our street clothes,
like this.
Focus on just the music, no like ornamentation, but it wound up being a lot of fun just to get dressed up. And it's not like we wear different costumes every night or put so much effort into thinking, you know, what's our image going to be. It's just a little something to like add to it.
That's good. I like that. Y'all are with what, Roadrunner Records, right?
Yeah, we've been signed to Roadrunner for about a year, and we've been slowly transitioning. We had our own label, 8 Foot Records, that was started right when our album initially came out, just on our own. And so we've been sort of transitioning from our own label over to Roadrunner, but now it's totally done. Roadrunner's putting out the next record, and they're now fully supporting this current record too.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think you guys got a good, bright future. And then I think you'll wrap up the tour right after Mexico City. You're going to end up in Boston, right? And you're going to shoot a live DVD footage out there?
Yeah, we just confirmed that, so we've got 2 weeks to get ready.
Oh,
Which means I'm spending most of the day like typing behind my computer trying to organize it and get everything together. But it sounds like it's going to be nuts. There's going to be tons of performers and performance artists and crazy artwork all over the club. It's gonna be I think, hopefully, the farthest thing from your average music DVD that we could possibly come up with.
Pretty wild. I guess y'all are excited about that.
Definitely.
We're gonna wrap it up. Do y'all have any final words or anything you want to list?
No. I mean, for anyone who hasn't heard the band or wants to find more about the band, definitely, like you said, the website's a great place to start. It's got tons of downloads, tons of videos, any information on the band you would ever want, and it's sort of fun to navigate. So I'd send anyone there. It's DRESDENDOLLS.com.
Yes, it's a very cool website, very artistic website. Thanks a lot to the Dresden Dolls.
Thank you.
And there's a music video coming up, so stay tuned. And we're out.
Thank you very much. Take it easy. People often ask me if the music is autobiographical, if these songs are fiction, or if they're just based completely on my life. And it's really that kind of magical combination of both. I basically take the things that I see around me and my own personal experiences, and then I kind of run with them, and I add fiction where it seems appropriate, but actually sometimes those exaggerated elements, those fictional elements, end up being even more true than the reality.
Her band, the Dresden Dolls, which combines the energy of punk music with the theatrics of German cabaret theater, won WBCN Radio's prestigious Rock and Roll Rumble.
I hit on the term punk cabaret, thinking that was the perfect theatrical, intimate, balls out energy and intensity that sort of destroys all in its path. We're a very live band, so how to capture that sound and still make an interesting record was a really exciting challenge, and we're both really happy with what we got. As far as the sticking with drums and piano for the instrumentation goes, we've found it's very simple. Less is more. When Brian and I play together on stage, something happens. There's a musical conversation going on. It's like electricity, and people in the audience can feel the tension and the passion with which we play and how we play off of each other. It's a huge part of what the show is about. Brian's looking at me, and I'm looking at the audience, and the audience is looking at Brian, and Brian is intently focused on my fingers, and I'm checking out Brian's hands to see exactly when he's going to hit the drum. And there's an excitement about the fact that there's really live music being made. This is something that's really happening right now, and it's being improvised before your very eyes. And that's a huge part of what excites people about our show, is that you can see two people up on stage making music together. All of our live shows have tried to incorporate the idea of the audience being invited to also be creative and bring their own individuality and bring their own talents. Whether they do it on stage or they do it just as an audience member dressing up, it really doesn't matter. It's like a big artistic free-for-all. On tour, what we've done is we've invited local people in the cities that we're going to be playing in to use their own talents. So we've had just this whole exciting circus-like atmosphere. One of the things that's most important to this band is to encourage other people to be creative.
The whole touring experience has proved such a validating and worthwhile thing for this band to do because of how deeply moved people seem to be from the music and from the performance. On top of being natural-born hams and loving that kind of energy and excitement and thrill from being in front of a crowd, to know that you're having a real emotional impact on someone that can really be liberating for them and help make their lives easier or provide an escape for them when things are getting hard is a really wonderful gift that needs to be shared. And it's
partly the responsibility of those who feel that they have something to share to actually do it and try to make a positive difference in the world with it.
I have a fantasy that sometime, either next summer or the following summer, we will actually be able to rent a European Spiegel tent, one of the old-fashioned circus tents, and actually tour all across America with a bunch of cool opening bands and a bunch of performance artists, sort of like the old vaudeville days, and just revive the excitement of a show coming to town for a week. We can do anything. We can do work in theater, we can do work in films, we can continue touring as the Dresden Dolls. You know, I'm constantly writing new music, and so there's no lack of music to record and play, and I think we'll just sort of go where the wind blows us.
Right.
She's halfway down now, but the man is impatient. Shakes change in his pocket, he might have to wait, but she